ABC 10 News at 7 starts now.
The Petco Park vaccination superstation will reopen tomorrow after being closed for days because of vaccine shipment delays. Good evening. I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. As our ABC 10 News anchor Lindsay Pena reports, people waiting for their second dose are now worried about getting it in time.
After days of being closed because of delayed shipments of vaccines, the Petco vaccination superstation remained shut down Monday, which was when some people were supposed to get their second dose.
So now we haven't heard when it'll be rescheduled to, because, they haven't received the shipment.
That San Diegan didn't want to use her name, but says she was originally supposed to get her second dose on Sunday the 14th, but was rescheduled to Monday the 22nd. Now she's left feeling
just frustrated because we just want to get it over with,
The Petco location uses only the Moderna vaccine, whereas the other county locations use a mix of both Moderna and Pfizer. Even though it's recommended that a second dose of the vaccine be given within 21 to 28 days, the CDC says patients can get a second dose up to 42 days after their first.
They keep saying that it's okay as long as you get it within 45 days, but it would have been better to get it within the optimal time period, it seems.
At this point, the county says anyone who has had a second dose postponed will be automatically rescheduled through the UCSD MyChart website. But that may not happen until the vaccines are actually received. In the meantime, other vaccination sites like Del Mar remain open and had appointments available as of Monday, but that site is only using Pfizer vaccines, which can't be used on someone who received a first dose of Moderna. Lindsay Pena, ABC 10 News.
And the county is opening 2 new vaccine clinics. One opens tomorrow at the Border View Family YMCA in Otay Mesa. The other is in Lemon Grove. It opens Sunday at the Lemon Grove Community Center.
Nearly 6 million Californians will be getting new stimulus checks. Today, the legislature approved $600 payments to people with low to moderate incomes. And that includes people who claim the California Earned Income Tax Credit. They typically make $30,000 or less. Immigrants who pay taxes using a taxpayer ID number and make $75,000 a year or less. People who get assistance from state programs benefiting low-income families, and people who are blind and disabled. Governor Newsom says he will sign the stimulus into law.
The county reported 321 new cases today. That is the lowest we have seen in a long time. And our 3% test positivity rate was also the lowest in months. There were no new deaths, which is typical for a Monday, so that total stands at just under 3,200. And you can stay on top of any new developments with coronavirus by downloading the 10 News app. A free version is available in the App Store.
Attacks on Asian Americans have been getting attention nationwide. New at 7 o'clock ABC, 10 News reporter Melissa Masiha shows us how the community now has a chance to speak up to state leaders about the bad things that happen to them.
The videos are hard to watch. Elderly Asian Americans attacked on the streets.
No one should be attacked, and certainly not those in our community who've done so much for us, our parents and our grandparents.
What's happening to us matters.
Stars like Olivia Munn and Daniel Day Kim condemning these attacks.
These are people that are elderly, often with pre-existing conditions, who are already afraid to go outside, and now they're fearing for their lives.
Corinne Makapugay is part of the California Commission on Asian and Pacific Islander American Affairs. The group advises government on issues affecting the community. This Thursday, they'll hold their first public meeting addressing AAPI hate incidents and crimes. Corinne said attacks aren't always physical.
I had another friend who was sitting in a parking lot when someone drove by him and tried to spit into his car and saying it's your fault.
Her friend being blamed for the coronavirus.
She can't be in this country.
Anti-Asian sentiment caught on video over the past several months.
Asian piece of
Asian American Pacific Islander communities are not exempt from experiencing racism.
The organization Stop AAPI Hate formed at the start of the pandemic. It tracked more than 2,800 incidents of anti-Asian hate from mid-March to the end of December. Its co-founders said it's an astronomical rise compared to the 100 or so incidents from various reporting organizations in previous years.
We know that 2,800 is really just the tip of the iceberg. When folks experience something like this, their first instinct is not necessarily to get on their laptop and report an incident online. But we think it's important because it helps us to understand the problem and then begin to find solutions for it.
The co-founder of Stop AAPI Hate says even if the attack doesn't happen to you, if you witness one, she encourages you to report it. I'm Melissa Messiha, ABC 10 News.
And you can find information about this Thursday's open meeting in the article on this story. It's posted on 10news.com.
It is still not clear tonight why a Marine helicopter from Camp Pendleton made an emergency landing near Torrey Pines today. That Bell UH-1Y helicopter touched down in the Los Penasquitos Natural Preserve around 3:30.
Miramar's pretty close, so we were thinking that it must have been a very dire situation for them to land in the middle here.
There are no reports of any damage or any injuries. The Marines dispatched mechanics to look over the aircraft and determine if it needed any repairs. The helicopter is stationed at Camp Pendleton but is operated by the 3rd Wing in Miramar. A Hamul family is mourning the loss of their dog killed today in a house fire. The home on Dora Vista Lane caught fire around noon. A garage, an RV, car, and boat also went up in flames. Investigators are now looking into what caused it. The family wasn't home at the time of the fire, but their dog was. Didn't make it out. The Red Cross will now help that family find another place to stay.
An Escondido police officer will be okay after being shot today in the line of duty. It happened early this morning while police were responding to a domestic disturbance call. Suspect Anastasio Rosas shot the officer in the left buttock and then took off. The officer was treated and released from the hospital. Hours later, a tip led officers to a vacant apartment where a gunshot was heard. Officers found Rosas dead inside. They say he had shot himself. The man who fired a police officer's gun through the back window of a police cruiser got a 10-year sentence today. The incident last July was captured on surveillance camera. Keith Berman, who had been arrested, was sitting inside the patrol car at San Diego Police Headquarters when he slipped out of his handcuffs and then grabbed the gun out of the officer's bag. He fired a shot that hit the car. Officers then shot him in the upper body, but he recovered. Bergman pleaded guilty last month.
And the San Diego Police Department has released a new policy on officer conduct during public demonstrations. According to that policy, the goal for police during protest is to, quote, preserve the peace, prevent criminal activity, control traffic, and facilitate the safe exercise of an individual or group's First Amendment rights. And all plans shall include de-escalation considerations. But social justice advocate Casey Short claims the new policy is lacking.
I feel that the policy is more of what the police are just going to allow themselves to do, because who's policing the police?
The policy says dispersal techniques can be used if people don't comply after a demonstration is declared unlawful. That includes the use of less lethal force, including pepper balls and flashbangs. The president of the San Diego Police Officers Association tells ABC 10 News he supports this new policy.
The place dozens of local teenagers call home will soon shut down for good. The state just announced that San Pasqual Academy in Escondido will be closing this fall. ABC 10 News reporter Rachel Bianco explains what's behind that decision and what's next for these children.
The San Pasqual Academy is the first in the nation residential and educational setting for kids in foster care. For the last 20 years, the sprawling Escondido campus has provided a home to thousands of students. Now, many of them are shocked to hear that it will be closing.
If I wasn't there, if I didn't grow up there, I think I would never have been the person I am today. Because I could say I'm a college graduate from Cal State San Marcos, and that wouldn't happen if SPAL wasn't there helping me.
San Pasqual is the first of its kind. You know what I mean? There are no other group homes like that.
Yvette Romero says SPA gave her more stability than any foster home.
When San Pasqual Academy came to me as an opportunity. It was an opportunity to really grow.
The California Department of Social Services sent SPA this letter notifying it of the decision to close. The state cites years of declining enrollment and changes to state and federal laws that require children be placed with families rather than in group settings.
In my opinion, it shouldn't matter how many kids there, you're still changing lives.
There are roughly 70 students living at SPA right now. Supervisor Nathan Fletcher says the county is committed to finding the kids good homes.
And I'll be proposing the San Pasqual Promise, which will be to take the funding that gave us these good outcomes and ensure that commitment to support each of these kids remains just as strong as ever.
Fletcher says a mix of federal, state, local money, and donations cover the $15 to $20 million a year it costs to run SPA. It is scheduled to close in October. Rachel Bianco, ABC 10 News.
A spokeswoman with the Academy said they're disappointed by the state's decision, but they're committed to facilitating a supportive transition for the children and the young adults who live there.